Hello and good afternoon, everyone. I am happy to be here finally. One of the most overused symbols or metaphors used by speakers is a journey. It has been quite a journey. Well, it was quite a journey for me. It took exactly 24 hours from the arrival to Tallinn airport to being here. So I'm glad to be here. And in the beginning, the session was built up to be a bit more interactive than we are able to do it now. So I will still ask you two brief questions, which are also related to the discussions which you had beforehand. And I just ask for your understanding that the discussion at the tables will be very, very brief. Still, I hope that taking a few minutes for additionally discussing with each other, it helps us to connect even better with the topic of the presentation. And before introducing myself in 3 or 5 sentences very briefly, I would like you to, in your tables, to wrap up everything you have been discussing today and just to say your opinions. So, in your opinion, what is the biggest constraint on social enterprise sector development related to impact analysis or in a wider sense? You have had already some discussions on it, but now picking up the strongest argument. So just 2 or 3 minutes, please communicate a bit in your tables. What is the main constraint? The biggest one, the root one?
You want to pitch in here? Maybe it's because Scandinavian countries are probably very strong welfare states, but then there is Tesla, and it's a breakthrough of social entrepreneurs. The model is not okay, but as an investor representing the state in this, I see a lack of a high level, not quality. Social enterprise that are engaged. Right? There is a lot of grassroots, but still too few good, really innovative concepts. Let's just go in that deep. That's one.
Totally agree, and that is the core reason why we are doing our exact definition. I think I had almost that line in the talk. That's why we made the people with that of financial
under business, also quality of services at the side of this lack of skills and abilities. Quality of services, which is like the things that people are not buying. So this financial factor is not so strong.
It's getting hot. All right. Thank you very much for voicing your opinions. Can I also have an idea what did you discuss? So 1 or 2 sentences from a few the tables. What is one aspect which you see as a main constraint what you discussed about? Please.
There is a lack of social entrepreneurs with a potential of a huge growth. And I will then add to that these having metrics that document the impact is one step on the path to letting entrepreneurs understand what is needed to succeed.
Thank you very much. So, scaling, please.
I would say practical education.
So, to have knowledge and skills, that's the constraint, yes? Thank you very much. Any other views which you voiced? For example, pairs table.
We would wider knowledge of the concept, so awareness of the concept, or awareness, a bigger awareness about the concept would actually be needed, or is much needed.
All right, so there are a variety of views, but those views are connected as well. So, what is the main constraint of social enterprise sector development has been also the main question what we have been tackling in Estonian social enterprise community. So I'm the leader of Estonian social enterprise network, and Estonian social enterprise network has 3 primary objectives: to increase the number of social enterprises in Estonia, to increase their capacity, mainly capacity as enterprises, and of course, as a final, the most important goal, to increase their societal impact as well. And of course, we have been also struggling with the question, so what is the main constraint, how to identify it, and after we have identified it, how to address it. I will not make a longer presentation of Estonian social enterprise network now, so if you have any deeper interest in our organization, so we could just chat straight after the event. I just hope that I will add more value now if we go deeper into this impact analysis solution topic. So, one of the main constraints which I see is that the value of social enterprise sector in our societies is not appreciated enough, and its value and potential is not visible enough, because all those constraints which we describe, for example, lack of knowledge or lack of seed money or lack of incentives for talented leaders to join the sector, actually come down to resources and prioritization. And of course, resources are being put into sectors which are being appreciated as important and full of potential. So I really feel that the social enterprise sector needs a dashboard to really show what it's about and to really communicate its value, and of course to observe its progress as well. And the best symbol of a dashboard, in my opinion, is actually dashboard of a vehicle, of a car, because it's really compact, everybody understands what's it about, and it really communicates the most important information like speed by speedometer, or for example how much fuel we have left, indicators for gas, for example. Of course, such a dashboard does not explain the whole reality. Still, we have to have the vision where to go and to have a look out of the car window. Still, the dashboard explains very well what's really going on, like speed, fuel, and some other aspects. So what we have been discussing in Estonia is how to really develop such dashboard or such dashboards for social enterprise sector. And solution which I will demonstrate you in approximately 5 minutes. It is an attempt to show the impact as a kind of dashboard for social enterprise sector. Hoping, so the theory of change behind it is that when we can identify what needs to be on the dashboard of a social enterprise sector, and when we can communicate it, then the value will be more visible, and the sector will also be prioritized more among decision makers. And of course, it would help social enterprises themselves as well, because if they will see their speed, then they will also see more the need to speed up, so in relation to scaling, for example. And the other big question, which you can just think about for a few seconds on your own, is so what should definitely be on the dashboard of a social enterprise. So we will not have time to do a working group about it now. Still during the next event, when Danish stakeholders meet up once again, you might want to discuss it. So what would it be for Danish social enterprise sector? What do we need to see on the dashboard? And what I will present to you is a technological solution by its design. And of course, choosing technological solutions to solve any problem of any sector, on the one hand, it can be attractive. On the other hand, it can be controversial as well, because as we know, no technological solution on its own will not solve the challenges of grassroots level organizations. So why we chose to start with technological solution is just to address the two main needs of social enterprise sector. On the one hand, what we felt was that social enterprises need their own business registry. For example, in Estonia, we have a website called Center of Registers and Information Systems, and that is a website provided by Estonian state, and all organizations which are legally registered in Estonia have to provide their annual accounts with the help of this registry. Of course, it's still possible to do it on paper as well. Most of organizations, including social enterprises, do it on this registry. And the picture is in Estonian, but you might understand what it is. It's a balance sheet for annual accounts. So what this registry, of course, enables any organization to do is to provide information for annual accounts. And everything related to financial reporting is standardized. Which is not standardized is activity report. You can write whatever there, and only a few legal requirements, like indicating the number of members of management boards, etc. And having such kind of non-standardized activity report is not helping social enterprises at all to analyze their value and to communicate their value, because they just put in financial data, as you probably discussed before. Much data related to the real value of social enterprises cannot be put just into financial numbers, or at least financial numbers need some context to explain. And the current state registry does not provide of those opportunities. So that's one of the challenges, how to help social enterprises to insert, to analyze data which describes their value. And of course, the other aspect is communication and being public, being transparent, being searchable. So on the one hand, our system was inspired by business registry. On the other hand, it was inspired by a system like LinkedIn. So it could be also described like LinkedIn of social enterprises. What is the strengths of LinkedIn is that it's really well searchable according to keywords. For example, let's search for social enterprise, and let's search for people with social enterprise skills, and then we have, I guess it was 1.5 million CVs about people who have social enterprise experience. And our idea was, wouldn't it be great if social enterprises could insert their data in a business registry, which is built up really according to their needs. And then when they click, it will be actually available to general public to be searchable, like those LinkedIn profiles are. And we have been, during last 1.5 years, developing a system which could be called the Registry of Changemakers. And sometimes when presenting such kind of technological systems, audience can have one very justified question. Did any social enterprise leader from local community get hurt when developing the system? Or maybe more precisely, was any grassroots level social enterprise leader involved in developing the system? I can say yes. Our members were involved in developing the methodology. That has also been a long journey concerning methodology development since 2012, and I've been involved in the sector already since 2006, like all the time thinking about how to really develop such a solution. So just some of our members developing on paper, which you will see soon on the screen. And we really started on paper. So in 2013, with our members, we developed a format of a PDF report for specifying and analyzing and communicating outcomes and impact of Estonian social enterprises. So many of our members have such kind of PDF report, and the methodology was designed specifically for grassroots level social enterprises with a very limited resources to analyze their impact. Maybe it's the issue in Denmark as well, that there is a impact analysis divide between the organizations. Like 10 organizations in any country are having discussions about evidence-based programs and control groups and longitude studies, etc., etc. And then hundreds of organizations don't even have theory of change and are really struggling with it, although they have the potential to scale up and to really change lives in their communities for the better. So those reports start with developing theories of change, and then providing basic evidence, storytelling, and outcome indicators. And one of our methodological innovations was to really have simple theories of change, so not one theory of change per one organization, because then theory of change still gets big and complicated and not practical for management decision. The small but important methodological innovation was to have one theory of change per one target group. And of course, also grassroots level organizations, they have many target groups whom they have to influence according to the mission. Still, those target groups whom they can really provide evidence about, that they can really bring changes, there are usually 2 or 3, not more. And so in the beginning we were very happy with those PDF reports, compiling these, having those discussions influenced the management quality of social enterprises, and it became a good communication tool for them as well. Still, those PDF reports, well, they generated also many unmet needs. For example, they still were not standardized enough, no possibility to do statistics based on non-standardized pile of electronic reports. And also it was difficult to do quality control, for example, because although it was quite standardized, still unfortunately some space for blah, blah, blah. And one very practical problem I also suggest you to think about when you develop solutions for social enterprises, especially community organizations in Denmark. We had really some, well, stupid but practical problems, like this PDF report looks quite nice thanks to design. Design has been made in recent Microsoft Office Word version. Many organizations use OpenOffice, for example, and just many hours went into, well, this arrow, it just disappeared from the illustration of theory of change. Where is it? And social enterprises should not be looking for arrows in such kind of PDF reports. They should be looking how to scale up and increase their impact. So that was also one of the main justifications why to have IT system web-based, where all the arrows are already there. All right, so it was a warm-up, and now I will show you how it looks like. Disclaimer is that it's a beta version, so especially public design, it's still in the process. The company was supposed to complete it by end of February. Now it will be completed by the end of May. Still, you will see, you will get an idea what is it about. And then I will show you this business registry part as well, and so that's already complete. And you might be a bit annoyed by the fact that everything is in Estonian. Well, in fact, Friday evening, it's an advantage, because otherwise, if you would start trying to read everything on the screen, it would be just far too much information. So the fact that everything is Estonian will help us just to look at the structure. And I guess the structure part is the most important one at the moment, so that the amount of information is not so big. Unfortunately, I will lose eye contact with you, because now I will concentrate on the computer screen. It will be okay, because hopefully, while still listening to me, you will able to look at the screen, not at me. So let's have a look at this public interface at first, which is still in the process. I will just show a very few components of it that you will get a basic idea what we are trying to achieve. So here is the public interface, and it's called the Registry of Changemakers. One of its main components is the map of Estonia, and you can search changemakers on this map based on the criteria which are about what are the most important things about social enterprises, and of course about other social purpose organizations as well. So there are some search functions which help us to search for specific target groups we are interested in, and then to see who are really creating changes for those target groups and what kind of evidence they provide. So for example, it's possible to search for age groups. If we are interested in, for example, children from 0 to 3, who are the organizations which are creating changes. And so here you can see a few organizations, and then later on when the functionality will be developed, it's possible to click here and to see the report as well. So the point is, if we search something on the map and the organization is claiming that, well, in this part of Estonia we are creating changes for such target group, then we can click on the report and to read the context and to see the evidence as well. No evidence on the behalf of the organization, the report cannot be published on this map. And those criteria can be combined as well. So for example, here it's also possible to search according to language of communication of the target group. For example, children who are speaking in Russian language, or for example some groups of refugees for a certain country. And here is also a part where we can search according to the main change in indicators. For example, changes related to material needs, income or employment, or some improvements in mental or physical health, for example. So we have categorized all the possible changes and created a logical system, which is based, of course, on international classifications. And some other search functions as well. For example, we can search for members of Estonian main civil society organizations. For example, also Estonian social enterprise, the network, so where our members are. And just showing one more aspect. So for example, if we want to look for organizations, so here are their logos and the brief descriptions, and here we can click and to see the report online, or for example to download PDF, or to share the report on Facebook. I'm not clicking on those buttons at the moment because the reports still look ugly enough, so design is still being developed. Still, I hope you get the main idea that it's possible to see those organizations, to search for them, and then to see those reports online and on PDF as well. And for example, design is also being developed, but it's also possible, for example, to straightly compare some information about organizations, for example, their target group descriptions. So that was the LinkedIn part. In short term, even more important part is the business registry part, because the public interface makes sense only if the information is of quality. And I'm not sure how is it in Denmark. In Estonia, one of the main capacity building needs, also related to education, which you discussed before, is really how to analyze impact. Many social entrepreneurs, well, they are very entrepreneurial. They have just started their organizations, seeing the problem, starting to solve it without thinking too much. And then really tools are needed to bring back this more analytical thinking as well. So one of our hopes is that the business registry part, first and foremost, is actually a training and consulting tool, how to really structure thinking about creating impact. And back to the original claim on my behalf, everything which you will now see has been tested on real organizations during many impact analysis trainings. So, for example, those questionnaires which you will see, they have been tested on paper as well. So, let's start with business registry. So, in the beginning, the organization just fills in basic data like legal form, the name, memberships in civil society organizations, which are the main fields, and so on, and uploads the logo, very important, and then moves on. And so here, the organization has to decide how many target groups there are. They are really influencing so much that they can provide evidence that they have already had influence on the target group. And here, for example, this organization has provided 3 target groups. The organization is a shelter for women suffering from relationship violence, and they have 3 main target groups they are influencing. So the women themselves, children, because in many cases women come to the shelter with children, and they have larger advocacy objectives as well. So also specialists who are working for public administration. And all those questionnaires have the same design for all of those target groups. So we will just have a look at one of those structures. So here are some descriptions as well, because to be usable as a training material, it's good if we don't have the monopoly of consulting, but there are also enough explanations how to fill in those questionnaires. So it start with general characteristics of the target group. It's methodologically very interesting, so maybe during questions and answers we can discuss a bit classification principles as well. But here I will just say that it's a sheet of target group characteristics for the purposes of analysis and statistics, and these are such characteristics which are the basis for the organization for choosing the target group, but which don't say whether target group has a problem or not. All right, and then moving on. So for analysis and statistical purposes, in indicating which are the age groups that we are working with. Then here we can choose which regions of Estonia we are working in, and we can be really specific, also those smallest units of administration. And of course we can also choose not only Estonia but abroad. For example, if we are working with development aid. And then we can choose what is or what are the communication language of the target group. And here at the moment we have not provided all languages of the world, and it's a good example to show how dynamic the system is. So for example, if Estonian organization does not find the language of their target group, for example, they are working with refugees from a certain country, then they can write here what is their proposal about adding the language, and send it to the administrator of the system, and the language will be added. Moving on, as there is some information which cannot be just indicated by making like tick, tick, tick. So here they can also provide some information in sentences about their the target group and how they work with the target group. So what you saw before was also for statistical purposes, but here it's qualitative text. And then the most interesting part. So here they can indicate what are the indicators indicating the problem or need of the target group. So it's the first column, and the second column is they make tick there if they can claim that they have also created change according to the need. And we have attempted to include really all possible changes which civil society organizations are creating in relation to their target group here. And if something is missing, organization can also just send us their proposal. And this very specific organization has really made too many ticks about problems, and also they claim that they create so many positive changes for women. In this public interface in LinkedIn, it would really make the report too long. So also for strategic consultancy purposes, here organization has to prioritize and can choose only 5 main change indicators they provide evidence about. And then moving on, here you can see this is change number 1, and that is the name of the change. So where they made this tick. And if they claim that they are really creating this change from this list of standardized change indicators, so here they can provide evidence. To give just example, here is a questionnaire which helps organizations to provide storytelling, to provide stories according to standardized format. So for example, the title of the story, who is the real individual the story is about, what was the initial situation, then what were our activities, and then our outcomes and the impact. And if they need any more advice or inspiration how to really write any certain section of the story, here is the question mark, and there are some guiding questions about the issues they might consider while writing the story. And there are some other questionnaires as well, for example, possible to include research results. And then here are some standardized output indicators, also for statistical purposes. And that was it about describing the change related to a target group in business registry. And just two last questionnaires more for this LinkedIn part. So here, the description of an organization as a whole, because before we were just describing a very certain target group. And the last one, so here the main quantitative indicators by the organization. For example, for any social enterprise, of course, entrepreneurial income should be included here. And so after the organization has completed the questionnaire and we have checked it and commented upon it, checking and commenting takes also place here inside the system. So there will be like a small forum of questions and replies under each worksheet. After this has been completed, then it will be published and it will be visible, for example, on the map as well. And of course, searchable also according to other indicators which are not on this map. So that was it. It's a combination of business registry and LinkedIn. And our ambition is that on the one hand, it helps to change how social enterprises analyze their impact. It will give a very basic platform where to build upon all those more sophisticated approaches to impact analysis, which are not possible without providing basic platform. And on the other hand, it will help to communicate the aspects about individual social enterprises and also aspects about the social enterprise sector as a whole, about the characteristics which really matter. Who are the people and how many who they are influencing. Why I'm not saying changing the lives all the time is that many organizations also do advocacy. So for example, they don't want to change the lives of political decision makers, but they need to influence them. All right, that was the presentation. So now I am open for questions.
Does it cost the users? Do they pay anything to use the platform, or is it free for them to use?
For social enterprises and other social purpose organizations, it's free to use. We are also planning to earn our own social entrepreneurial income. For example, state administrators and funders would pay for some statistics and some overviews. And then for international cooperation, it might also be possible to get paid for spreading the system.
Okay, next question. Can we have it in Denmark, or would it be possible to, how easy will it be if we're supposed to use the system in Denmark?
Short answer is sure. Long answer is we hope that the methodology would be applicable for most social enterprises in any country, because when developing it, we have also looked through quite many international classifications. So the main constraints would be technical, I guess, because now we need some months to really test it in Estonia to get rid all of the bugs, and then we would be happy if other international stakeholders would also be interested to test it out, because then we will learn together quicker.
impressive work, I think, and also a good vision how to move forward. And if this is perspective to help the entrepreneurs to measure their impact in a more structured way and learn to be more sophisticated, you see in a perspective here that it could also be a platform for them to get a better market, to get to new customers within public or private enterprises, and it could be a platform also to attract funding, investors, and also a tool for investors and foundations to sort out projects or companies that meet their interests or purposes.
One strong yes and one hesitation. A very good question, by the way. For funders, yes. One of the stakeholders or stakeholder groups we have involved while developing the system are, for example, ministries, for example, Ministry of Social Affairs, who really want to see who are those social enterprises who are working in municipalities on municipality level, and to get a better overview of them, and also to get a better overview what is the level of evidence for their programs. So yes, one hesitation is that of course it would be great if the same portal would also help social enterprises, for example, to promote their goods and services. What I'm afraid is that maybe the focus would become too wide, and maybe the portal, let's say, too confusing. So maybe a good solution for any country would be to have one portal which is, let's say, like LinkedIn for social impact and for change making, and then some other system which is really specifically about the sales and the promotion of goods and services of social enterprises, and then of course linked with each other.
Have you thought of if there is any possibility to connect it to the end user or target group, also in terms of verifying the data? If you have this platform, then maybe they could actually also inform in the term of video experiences, storytelling from that perspective.
In longer perspective, yes. At the moment, it's not included here, because although now it looks deceptively easy to create something easy, has been a very hard work. So at the moment we are achieving that organizations have this tool of consultancy, and the involvement of end users would be having those storytelling elements included. And then when we get this working, yes, it's a great idea to build in also a tool for verification. And there are some, let's say, tricky issues as well, because quite many civil society organizations work with end users who actually want to stay anonymous, or who need to stay anonymous, like children who have been abused. And also how to solve it, how to get such target groups still to express their voice, even if they need to stay, or even if they want to stay anonymous.
How do you make sure that all organizations sign up? What is, how do you make sure to motivate organizations to sign up, and how are you going to deal with organizations who do not exist anymore, and make sure that data is up to date?
At the moment, I can say what we have learned from developing those PDF reports. Some organizations have internal motivation. They want to go through the process, and they view it as a strategic tool for themselves to really understand the potential for their impact better. And there are quite many of such organizations. And for many other organizations, the motivation is about their communication. They want to be viewed more attractively, and they want to be trusted by the funders more, and they feel that they get legitimacy from this system. And of course, what we say is that it will then never become strictly marketing tool. If they don't provide enough evidence, then of course they cannot publish their report. Concerning updating, the report will be updated each year, so automatically each previous year will be archived, and then they can fill in questionnaire anew, and data from previous year is just automatically transferred. So they don't have to type everything in again, but they have to check. And of course, if the organization is not alive or active anymore, then just the report will be archived and there will be no new report.
I forgot if you mentioned it, but which types of actors have been involved and has sort of, in this context, has been a part of this project when it comes to different agencies and funders and financiers? Are everybody on board that this is what we use now, for example? Is there a consensus? Have you anchored it?
Well, starting from your last question, co-founder of this system is Estonian Ministry of the Interior, which is the ministry in Estonia who is also working with civil society development. And for example, Estonian government's last year activity report also included the reference that also the government is supporting development of such a system. And for example, Ministry of Social Affairs is also supporting it. And the main foundation in Estonia called the National Foundation for Civil Society has been also helping to create it. Still, there is no consensus, and some civil society funders are a bit afraid of it. For example, those who have mainly financed generation of outputs and not really thinking about outcomes and the impact, they are a bit scared of it, and we really have to work to build trust. Concerning civil society organizations, in building the methodology, we have also involved other organizations, not only our members and not only social enterprises, and from very different fields, from children's rights to environmental protection, and the nationwide organizations, and also organizations, very small ones from municipalities. So concerning them, I feel confident that if we are friendly and empathetic, then we can get all civil society organizations on board. Because one important aspect is that although this system is based on evidence and providing evidence, it's not like if I don't have very fancy evidence-based information about my work, that I cannot be part of this web solution. I can, just what I claim about my work has to correspond with evidence. So for example, if I'm a small organization who is organizing events for children in my municipality, and I have just recorded how happy the children are during our events, then I can still be part of the web solution. I just cannot write here that I'm changing the children's lives. What I can write here honestly is that we are providing happy moments for children, and I can approve those happy moments. And of course, those organizations who are really providing long-term evidence-based programs for children, they can also be part of this web solution, and they can, for example, claim that they really improve, for example, long-term learning outcomes and employment opportunities for children. So in that sense, it's trying to be honest and democratic. Everybody can join if they make honest claims about their impact. And as such kind of speech or lecture is not the best format to go into methodological details, so I'm just referring that one of the most intellectually exciting parts for me and my team has been really those standardized questionnaires and how to build them and how to really connect the need for standardization with the absolutely non-standardized work of grassroots level change makers. So that has been one of the most exciting parts and also one of the most difficult parts of creating it, and where we are still learning much. So last technological remark, the system is also dynamic. So for example, if we discover that we have really omitted some important questions from those questionnaires, or for example, something really needs to be changed methodologically, as it's based on WordPress, we can just log in ourselves and we can just make those changes, and those changes will also be reflected immediately in this public interface. So we are not dependent on IT company to make some very expensive additions to it. So thank you for afternoon attention span, which was long enough. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jan. So actually now we have we are out of time, but there's still like half an hour to go slowly home. So please use the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so to contact whom you didn't contact or whom you still want to contact. And I just wanted to say that we want to share everything and send out email with slides, links for videos, participant list, and all other relevant information. So you will get that all. Also people who signed up and wasn't here will get the email. Is there just a final question, or?
What is the next step for Danish social enterprise community?
Yes. You know how to spend half an hour. So anyway, what we hoped for also was to bring attention to this issue in a regional context. So I think that we would take it up along and just use the network we already have within the Baltic areas to keep the fire burning. And you're of course all welcome to give inputs, and you have emails addressed on our organization and on me. So please do that if there's inputs. Otherwise, I just want to say thank you for today, and in spite of traffic chaos and everything, I think we had a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you.